I was a poor student, and it was only through the financial aid from Marius's family that I could attend university. After the semester started, I immediately sought out Marius, wanting to repay his kindness. Marius, however, looked down on me for being poor and wanted nothing to do with me. That day, he deliberately pointed to the guy next to him and said, "You've got the wrong person. He's the real Marius." I took it seriously, mistaking that person for Marius, and thanked him profusely. A month later, Marius approached me on his own. "Be my girlfriend. Consider it repaying the favor." But it was his brother who replied, "Selena has already repaid the favor." When? I had no idea. Just now, my voice went hoarse from shouting. It sounded lethally good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. During the first week of school, I went to find Marius. A group of boys sat around the basketball court. I didn't know which one was him, so I politely asked, "Excuse me, I'm looking for Marius." The crowd immediately started teasing. "Here to ask for his phone number again. Marius bro is quite the ladies' man," a boy in a white jersey asked. "What do you want with him?" "I'm a scholarship student sponsored by the Monroe family. Without the Monroe family's support, I wouldn't be able to attend this school. I want to personally thank Marius. Being stared at by so many people made me a bit nervous." "Excuse me, are you Marius?" The person in the white jersey didn't answer but instead looked me up and down. Finally, his gaze settled on my faded jeans. "I'm not." He pointed to the side and said, "He is Marius." I turned my head and looked to the side. Marius was very tall. His eyes were cold, with a scar running from his chin down to his neck. He looks quite unapproachable. He's not quite what I imagined, but I still bowed politely. "Thank you, Monroe family, for your help. If there's anything I can do, please call me anytime. I'd like to repay your kindness." All the boys around burst into laughter. I don't know what they're laughing about. Did I say something wrong? "What's your name?" Marius asked. "Selena. You said you wanted to repay a favor." "Yes." "Then let's exchange phone numbers first." He took out his phone. At this moment, the previously smiling boys all fell silent. The guy in white squinted his eyes. "Why are you exchanging phone numbers already?" Marius said, "Just in case it comes in handy." "As you wish." Their conversation was somewhat odd, yet couldn't pinpoint what exactly was strange. The player in white stood up and walked onto the court. Half a minute later, a basketball came flying straight at me. I was looking down at my phone and had no time to dodge. Thanks to Marius, who pulled me behind him. At the same time, he raised his other arm to block the ball. The basketball slammed into the arm with a loud thud. The instigator in the white jersey froze, his expression stiffening. "Dude, you okay?" Marius shook his head. "I'm fine. Be more careful." My bad. The white jersey guy glanced at me and complained. "Where are your eyes? Why didn't you even try to dodge?" "No. How dare you blame me?" I felt somewhat indignant. "You're the one with poor ball skills, yet you're blaming me instead. Are you even making sense?" The player in white froze, clearly not expecting me to talk back. The Marius beside me chuckled quietly, but when I looked up, he had already resumed his usual aloof expression, as if the laughter just now had been my imagination. "Marius, are you going to the infirmary?" I asked with concern. "No need." He rotated his arm to show everything was fine. "Thank you. Your parents paid for my education, and now you've saved me. I owe you even more now. The white-jerseyed guy snorted sarcastically. Crazy. What's it got to do with him? Confirming. Marius was unharmed. I left the field, but I didn't go far. I went to the store to buy a bottle of water for him. When returning to the court, I took a detour through the back door. Before I could get close, I overheard their conversation. Why did you lie to her? Marius. The white-jerseyed guy listlessly dribbled the basketball and replied, Too much trouble. If she finds out I'm Marius, she'll probably never stop bothering me. I froze in place. The white-jerseyed guy added, But Nigel is different. He's fierce. Fierce to everyone. That girl would be scared off within 3 days. Everyone burst into laughter. They didn't find anything inappropriate in what he said at all. I've seen too many people like this, the guy in the white jersey said casually. Poor and calculating. Talking about repaying kindness, but actually trying to climb into bed. Seducing me to secure a worry-free life of food and drink. Too bad. I don't fall for this trick. His tone was quite arrogant, looking down on everyone. Selena. Right. I remember that name. Before school started, my dad sent me some money to deposit into Selena's meal card. But I didn't do it. Why didn't you deposit it? The cafeteria is cheap enough. If you can't even afford the cafeteria, why come to study in City A? White jersey. No. It's Marius. His arrogance shocked me. What about the money? I treated you all to Michelin yesterday, and it cost me a pretty penny. Hee hee. Thanks Marius for the treat. We're all brothers here. No need to be polite. There's more where that came from. Marius made a three-pointer and continued to critique me. She always wears a mask. Probably because she's too ugly to show her face. Me? I just have allergies. I just moved to this city and my skin broke out in rashes due to the climate change. That's why I'm wearing a mask. The guys teased. Young Master Marius is the most looks-obsessed person I've ever seen. Haha. The reason he's still single is simply that no one meets his standards. Marius raised an eyebrow, smiling casually. He turned to look at the side. Sorry about that, Nigel. I've caused you trouble. You can delete her right now. The boy who had remained silent all this time finally spoke in an extremely calm tone. I don't find it troublesome. After returning to the dorm, I immediately asked my classmates for information. Marius is notoriously picky and hard to please. He had only one friend by his side, named Nigel. Mentioning this person, everyone would unanimously feel fear. Selena. How did you provoke Nigel? What's wrong with him? He's fierce. I heard the Orville family has connections in both legal and illegal circles, wielding immense influence in this city. Even Marius. No. Even the teachers sometimes have to defer to them. He's the last person you'd want to mess with in the entire school. Another classmate also said. There was once a senior who offended him and got beaten half to death before dropping out. This kind of person probably has violent tendencies. I broke out in a cold sweat upon hearing this. Maybe I should just delete Nigel. The thought had just crossed my mind when my phone suddenly vibrated. Nigel sent a message. Let's have dinner together tonight. I have something to tell you. I was about to refuse, but in my mind, the scene of him blocking the ball for me flashed. Forget it. One should know how to be grateful. At the very least, I should thank him now. I decided to go to the appointment, but I never expected. Nigel met me, and the first words he uttered were, First, I owe you an apology. I'm not Marius. I thought it would be better to clarify this matter with you in person. His voice had the texture of a cold mountain, so much so that the tone sounded chilly. I'm not Marius. My name is Nigel. The guy in the white jersey today is Marius. I shrank my neck back. I know. When did you find out? He lifted his eyelids slightly, as if questioning me. How can someone have such a strong presence? He didn't even do anything, yet his mere presence made me stutter. I went back and asked my roommate, who showed me the photo. Are you afraid of me? Big bro. Who wouldn't be afraid of you? Of course. I wouldn't dare say that out loud. Weren't you quite bold when you snapped at Marius today? So, did he come to teach me a lesson on behalf of Marius? I immediately apologized. Sorry. I won't dare to do it again. No. I didn't mean to blame you. Nigel seemed somewhat annoyed. He habitually took out a cigarette, glanced at me, then put it away. Let me give you some advice. The ones funding you are Marius's parents. If you're so grateful, save it for when you see them. Understood. I kept my head down, carefully picking at my rice. I didn't speak, nor dared to Nigel meet his gaze. The scar on his jaw was rather long, making him look quite fierce. I don't know how long the silence lasted. Nigel suddenly called my name. Selena. Here. If you're so afraid of me, why did you come to meet me? He asked the key question. I took a box of medicine out of my pocket. Almost forgot. This is for you. Thank you so much for today. For me. That's thoughtful of you. I forced myself to say, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now. I wasn't finished speaking. Please go ahead. I saved you today. Shouldn't you repay me somehow? Yes. How can I repay you? Just name it. Nigel narrowed his eyes slightly, his thin lips uttering a few words. You talk to me. On the way back to the dormitory, my footsteps were somewhat unsteady. This meal felt like a dream. People kept looking at us on the street, because Nigel is so famous. Walking with him made me an object of curiosity too. When we reached the dormitory building, I awkwardly said, I'm heading up now. Turn around. Step inside. Once through this door, I can finally relax. Nigel stopped me. Leaving already? That's no way to be a girlfriend. I wished I could cover his mouth. Fortunately, there was no one around to hear what he said. Yes, I agreed to him. Actually, I'm not sure why I agreed. Perhaps it was because he looked unusually serious at that moment. Perhaps I truly wanted to repay him. Or perhaps I wanted to prove that I never intended to seduce Marius. In short, I somehow found myself nodding in agreement. And then came this awkward moment. I whispered, how should I do it? I've never done this before. He tapped his cheek. Give me a kiss. I stood still. Not coming. Fine. Then I will. What? Wait. Nigel had already stepped forward, lowering his head to kiss my lip. My mind instantly exploded. I kept my lips sealed, not daring to move a muscle. Fortunately, he didn't try to pry open my lips. He only sucked on them gently, as if savoring a sweet treat, unexpectedly tender. After being kissed by him for a while, my legs actually felt weak. I don't know how long it lasted before he finally let me go. I heard Nigel sigh contentedly. Finally got to kiss you. What? Nothing. He reached out and wiped the water stain from my lips. The gesture was so intimate that it made my brain stop thinking. Selena, remember to open your mouth next time, he whispered in my ear. Nigel seems to be a slow burner too. Every day without fail. He greets me with good mornings and good nights, and proactively shares his schedule. Yet he never pushes me to take things further. I really like this pace. He probably just wants to have some fun. When he gets tired of playing around and dumps me, I'll consider my debt of gratitude repaid. But sometimes I can't figure it out. He deposited 10,000 yuan into my meal card. Is it him repaying me? Or me repaying him? I never went to see Marius again. When I start working and earning money, I'll repay the Monroe family's parents. More than half a month passed, and I gradually adapted to college life. Before the National Day holiday, the fashion design department came to select models. They were organizing a small fashion show and wanted to choose some models from our school. Hearing that the food provided was excellent, my roommate and I eagerly went for the audition. The interview was very simple. Just put on the clothes they designed and see how they look. My allergy has cleared up. My roommate did some simple makeup for me. Dressed in the gown, I stepped out from behind the curtain. At first glance, I saw Marius. He was sitting on the table, tossing his worn-out basketball against the wall. "Wow, it looks great on you," exclaimed the senior with surprise. Hearing this, Marius turned to look at me. He didn't speak. The entire department was waiting for him to say something. Since the sponsorship for this exhibition was secured by Marius, he had the final say in all matters. Unfortunately, he's a looks-oriented person, and after a whole morning of interviews, not a single candidate satisfied him. Marius stared at me for a long time, not even noticing the basketball rolling away. "Do you have a boyfriend?" he suddenly asked. "That's none of your business." "It does matter. If you don't have a boyfriend, I'll pursue you." His words struck like a bolt from the blue. The entire room fell silent. I looked at him as if he were an idiot. "Do you even know my name before chasing me?" "Names don't matter. Feelings do. But my name is Selena." Marius' smile froze on his face. "What's your name?" "Selena." I pointed to my head. "A month ago, you almost smashed me into the hospital. Remember?" Clearly, he hadn't forgotten. Marius wore an awkward smile on his face. "So it was you?" "Haha. Yes, it's me. It was too hot that day. I was a bit irritable and didn't behave well. I apologize to you." I ignored him. Marius started desperately trying to make up for it. "Seeing you in this dress today, you look absolutely stunning. It's my honor to have you as the model this time. I didn't agree to come. Is it a time issue? The event is on the weekend. It won't conflict with classes." I didn't want to come. I turned and entered the dressing room, took off the gown, and returned it to him. Marius was somewhat taken aback. "Perhaps there's still some misunderstanding. Actually, I am Marius." As if afraid I wouldn't believe him, he took out his student ID to show me. "The one who added you that day was my friend. He's a bit fierce. So if he scared you, I apologize on his behalf. Actually, I'm the Monroe family member you're looking for." He thought that by revealing this identity, I would agree to his request. But he was mistaken. "I know who you are," I asked calmly. "Marius, how was the Michelin taste?" Marius' expression became somewhat uneasy. "What Michelin? If you want to eat there, I can take you." "I'm not interested. I'm just curious. Spending over 10,000 to treat the brothers to a meal. The taste must be amazing, right? Nigel told you." "No. I heard it with my own ears. I told him that on that day." I returned to the court. I recorded every word of his evaluation of me without missing a single one. Shabby, scheming, shameful. Marius finally panicked. "I didn't know you back then, and it was my mistake to judge you rashly. I won't do that again. There won't be a next time." I grabbed my roommate and walked straight out of their department. Marius later transferred 20,000 into my meal card. which was more than what his parents had offered to sponsor me. I returned it exactly as it was. I don't know where he got my phone number. Every day he sends me random nonsense and keeps showing up in front of me. I never respond to him. Marius refused to give up. On weekends, I work part-time at a bar. This bar is quite reputable and often attracts students. While busy working, the manager approached me. "This is the fruit platter for the guests in the private room. Please deliver it." I said, "The private room isn't my responsibility, but they specifically asked for you. Probably your classmates." Without thinking much, I went straight into the private room. There were nearly 10 people inside, both men and women. Marius was sitting in the middle. He was curling his lips, smiling at me. If I weren't well aware of this person's incompetent nature, I might have truly been deceived by his appearance. "Let me introduce to everyone, Selena." Because Marius publicly declared he would pursue me, the entire school knows who I am. They jeered in unison. "Oh!" they exclaimed. I didn't respond, looking away instead. Nigel was there too. I can't remember when it started, but Nigel and I grew increasingly ambiguous. He's actually not as fierce as the rumors say. Our conversations started off being reserved, but now we've completely let loose. We talk about almost everything. He knows I don't like being the center of attention. We always meet in places with few people, holding hands, stealing kisses. He seems to really enjoy kissing me, each time leaving me breathless. But that's as far as it goes, because I'm slow to warm up. Nigel, being such a gentleman, would immediately stop whenever I retreated. He never looked down on me because of my family background either. From him, I felt genuine respect. It's hard not to develop affection for a man who understands boundaries so well. At this moment, Nigel sat in the corner. The cigarette he had been holding between his fingers was immediately stubbed out when I entered. Marius called to me. "Selena, I've already spoken to the manager. You're hanging out with us tonight, and you'll still get paid." I refuse. Playing with him is worse than going to work. I put down the fruit platter and was about to leave. The manager just had to call me at this moment. "Selena, have a good time with your classmate today. Consider it as work I assigned you. Marius is a major client of our store. Don't offend him." Helplessly, I had no choice but to stay. Marius organized the gathering, and all the attendees were friends from similar affluent backgrounds. They chatted about Aston Martins one moment and investing in London real estate the next. I couldn't understand any of it. Someone asked me what I thought of Aston Martin. I awkwardly replied, "Sorry, I don't follow celebrities, so I'm not very familiar with foreign stars." The room fell silent. "It's a car," a girl exclaimed in surprise. "How could you not know Aston Martin?" The previously silent Nigel suddenly spoke up. "It's normal not to know if you don't follow cars." The girl then asked, "So Selena, what car do you usually drive?" She didn't open it. She's Maria's parents-sponsored student from a poor family. Someone couldn't resist adding this remark. The atmosphere changed instantly. The way everyone looked at me became inscrutable. No wonder Marius initially had the first impression that I was trying to seduce him. Because in their circle, this has become a habitual way of thinking. I felt as if sitting on pins and needles, reaching out for the water glass. Suddenly, someone beside me grabbed my arm. "Selena, how come the bracelet on your wrist is the same as Nigel's?" Nigel gave it to me as a matching couple's bracelet. I've been wearing it ever since. That person rolled up my sleeve to reveal the bracelet fully. It really is exactly the same. "Nigel, let me see." Nigel was also pulled by the arm and held up to the light. His bead was slightly larger, mine a bit smaller. but otherwise identical. Even the faint glow they emitted was nearly indistinguishable. Wow, looks like a couple set. Someone said this. The atmosphere instantly became weird. Marius had long stopped smiling. His eyes turned cold as he stared at the beaded bracelet. A couple's set. He slowly raised his head, not looking at me but at Nigel. Nigel, what do you say? Nigel did not respond. His silence intensified the subtle tension. Under pressure, I spoke first. I bought it randomly myself. Just a coincidence. Really. I bought it at the small commodities street. Hearing this, everyone collectively let out a sigh of relief. Marius also regained his smile, urging everyone to drink and lighten the mood. Except for Nigel. His eyelashes drooped slightly, his restrained expression completely hidden in the dimness. We're screwed. Seems angry. The private room was noisy. I excused myself to the restroom and went to the emergency exit for some fresh air. I had barely sat down when Nigel followed me in. Before he could start questioning me, I surrendered first. I can explain. The reason I didn't admit it is because, as I told you before, I dislike being talked about and drawing attention. You're also a celebrity at school. If people find out we're dating, I'll have even more trouble than I do now. That's the truth. Because Marius openly said he was going to pursue me that day. Now the whole school knows. Whenever the public course teacher called my name, murmurs would spread through the classroom. Even when I went to the library to study, someone secretly took photos of me. All of this made me extremely uncomfortable. Nigel fell silent for a moment. The stairwell was dimmer than the private room. I couldn't see the look in his eyes, but I could feel the chill emanating from him. After all this explanation, it boils down to you not liking me. No. That's not it. It's been a month. If you still haven't been moved by me, then you'll never like me. Selena. 1 month was the deadline I set for myself. Now you're free. Ha! Does this mean we're breaking up? Yeah. Nigel turned to leave. I don't know what came over me, but I grabbed him, stood on tiptoe, and took the initiative to plant a kiss. In this relationship, it seems I've never taken the initiative before. Every time, it was always him who yielded first. When chatting, it's always him who reaches out to me first. From his perspective, I probably do seem a bit distant, but the truth is, I've already developed feelings for him. When he brought up breaking up, it felt like a stab to my heart. I said pitifully, "Don't want to break up." Then you. Like you. Nigel was stunned for a moment. Then, he cupped the back of my head and invaded my mouth with a domineering force. A simple kiss turned into a passionate, lingering one. I parted my lips willingly, signaling that I wanted more. Nigel was encouraged, almost devouring me whole. When I had trouble breathing, I gently pushed him away. Nigel released my lips and began sucking on my earlobe instead. "Selena, your earlobe is so soft. So having your earlobe kissed can make your legs go weak too." Nigel, I'm not going back to school tonight. Ha! And neither are you. Nigel was excited, sealing the moment with another kiss. Just as we were reluctant to part, the voice of Marius came from outside. "You check the restroom. I'll look in the stairwell." With that, he pushed open the security door. Marius was stunned. Despite the dim light here, he could still see. I was Nigel's arms. My lips kissed red. Found it. How strange. 2 grown adults have vanished. Marius. They're not in the restroom. Are they with you? Marius paused for a moment before replying. Go back to the private room first. He tried to control it, but his voice still trembled. He walked in. Explanation. Explain what? Nigel asked calmly in return. Are you two together? Yes. It's been a month. This time it's my answer. Moreover, I held Nigel's hand with no intention of letting go. Marius stared at our clasped hands, his eyes nearly sprouting thorns. Weren't you just denying it? I just didn't want to say it in front of so many people. Fine. 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 Marius let out a cold laugh. Then, unable to control his collapsing emotions, rushed forward and grabbed Nigel by the collar. So you've been fucking lying to me all along. No one's lying to you. I asked if you scared Selena away. What was your answer? I said, none of your business. You tell me not to interfere. Then you fucking kiss her behind my back. Nigel wasn't angry at all. Instead, he reminded him, Marius, you were the one who introduced her to me. Marius fell silent instantly, but his trembling hands betrayed the turmoil within. Nigel, I treated you as a brother, yet you took advantage of my vulnerability. I said displeasedly. You were the one who pushed me toward him. How can that be called taking advantage? Even I say so. Marius was even more devastated. He waved his fists as if ready to fight. Nigel, however, asked, Are you sure you want to fight? You can't beat me. There was some disparity in their physiques. Marius was also tall, but on the lean side. Nigel was somewhat stronger than him, with well-proportioned muscles. Yes, I can't beat you. Marius lowered his fist and said with utter cruelty, Almost forgot. You're the lunatic who beat a classmate half to death. Nigel and I didn't linger. Leaving the bar directly. On the way, I kept thinking about what Marius had said. Did Nigel really beat a classmate half to death before? I always felt that he wasn't that kind of person. Yet this seems to have become Nigel's unwillingly mentioned past. I couldn't bring myself to ask him directly either. Lost in thought, Nigel said, What are you thinking about? Me. I've offended Marius and left work early. I'm afraid I won't get paid today. Don't worry. I know the bar owner. You know them too. They're my uncle's assistant. Seeing my surprise, he patiently explained. The first entertainment venue in City A was opened by my great-grandfather. But our family has since changed professions. Almost forgot. It's said that the Orville family has connections in both legal and illegal circles. Bar owners have to rely on them to keep their businesses running. Marius is just a big client, while Nigel can determine the life or death of the bar. It's just that he keeps a low profile, and the boss probably doesn't even know he's here tonight. Nigel, are you quite knowledgeable about wine too? A little. Why? Do you want a drink? I've never tried it before, but I'd like to. Actually, it's just that liquor emboldens the timid. Nigel immediately made a phone call. By the time we arrived at the hotel, someone had already delivered the red wine. I took 2 sips and gave my honest opinion. It doesn't taste good. Yeah, I don't think it's great either. How much is a bottle? 100,000. Delicious. Another glass. Nigel curved his lips into a smile. He actually has a very nice smile. His whole demeanor is as gentle as moonlight. To avoid wasting 100,000. I drank quite a bit. But since I'm not much of a drinker, I had no idea I'd become a different person after drinking. Things I wouldn't even dare think about normally. Now I'm bold enough to do them. I reached up my mischievous hands to tease Nigel, and the feel of those muscles was amazing, especially the abs. They were incredibly firm. Selena. He almost wanted to stop my hand, yet couldn't bear to. You're making it very hard for me to hold back. Then I'll reward you. I actively sat on Nigel's lap, lowering my head to kiss his scar. following the scar, all the way to the Adam's apple. I used my lips to nibble very, very lightly at his Adam's apple. Nigel let out a muffled groan, his breathing growing heavier. My hands didn't stop either. Nigel, your skin is so hot. It's getting hotter. Desire churned in his eyes, surging into a tsunami. Nigel could no longer restrain himself, rolling over to pin me beneath him on the bed. You promised to reward me. Don't even think about running away later. I wouldn't dream of it. With a playful smile, I arched my fair, rounded toes and traced teasing patterns along his waist. But I soon realized I had been careless. Nigel has an exceptional physique. Not only did I want to escape, I nearly burst into tears. Though it was his first time too. He quickly grasped the rhythm and exploited my weaknesses. Selena, do you like it? He asked. I didn't answer, so he only scratched the surface. Tell me, do you like this or not? I like it. Louder. I like. MMPH. He was satisfied. I like you too. Always have. Always. What does this mean? But at this moment, there was no energy left to think. Amid the collision, everything was thrown to the back of the mind. Finally, when I was exhausted, he let me sleep. So, I didn't know that after I fell asleep, Marius called me. He was drunk. His voice carried a barely detectable sob. Selena, I know I seem like a mess, but since childhood, you're truly the first person I've ever liked. I know I was wrong. I admit I was too arrogant and said things that hurt you. I'll definitely change in the future. Selena, do you still want to repay the favor? Be with me. Consider it as repaying the favor. Nigel waited until he finished speaking before giving a light chuckle. Why is it you? Marius grew impatient. Where's Selena? Put her on the phone. Marius. She's already repaid her debt. When? How come I didn't know? Just now. Nigel turned his head slightly, his gaze as gentle as water. My voice is hoarse from shouting, yet it sounds lethally beautiful. Marius didn't come looking for me again for a while. I thought he had given up. In fact, he was just holding back a big move. One ordinary morning, I suddenly received Marius's mother's phone call. She said Marius was sick and wanted me to visit. I was very hesitant. Auntie, this isn't appropriate. Selena, just visiting. No need to do anything for him. The aunt sighed. He might only take his medicine seriously if you're here. I'm at my wit's end. Could you please help me out? Marius's mother was polite and courteous. As my sponsor, I couldn't bear to refuse her. I told Nigel about this and asked him to accompany me. Marius and Nigel had already fallen out. The two had long stopped hanging out together. Arrived at the hospital, I first chatted with my aunt for a while. As I was about to enter the ward, I overheard the conversation inside. The two were at daggers drawn, both filled with hostility. Nigel said, "Don't you feel ashamed for forcing my girlfriend to visit you this way?" "What? Are you nervous?" Marius coughed and laughed. "As long as I hold a favor over her, she can't avoid me." "Nigel, I'm the obstacle you'll never overcome. It's your family, not you." "You're absolutely right. But my parents will unconditionally favor and support me." Nigel remained silent. This is indeed an unsolvable deadlock. Marius isn't the type to back down just because someone calls him shameless. Seizing the moment, I pushed the door open and said, "Darling, I want to talk to Marius alone." Nigel nodded and obediently left. TCH. Darling. Marius was extremely jealous, his eyes red with anger. "Selena, Call me baby too. Absolutely not. Call me that. And I'll agree to anything you want. First, Nigel and I haven't broken up. And second, we don't plan to. I'll be your mistress. Marius said so. You must be delirious with fever. Don't like it. Dating two at once. Whatever he can give you, I can give too. Marius, please take this seriously. I stood before him with a stern expression. The reason I sent Nigel away is because there's something I need to clarify with you. Go ahead. I never liked you. When I first approached you, saying I wanted to repay your kindness, it was truly just that. Repaying a debt of gratitude. I never intended to seduce you. Towards your Monroe family. I felt nothing but pure gratitude. Of course, whatever gratitude I had for you was completely destroyed by your own hands on the day we first met. He said in a frantic hurry. Feelings can be developed. Selena, you don't have to do anything. Now it's me who wants to seduce you. Monroe family's support you can take. Monroe family's only son you can also take away. I'll give you the entire Monroe family. Quite a touching confession. I sighed. Unfortunately, I don't have a masochistic tendency and won't fall in love with someone who trampled on my dignity. Marius immediately deflated, frustratedly pounding the sheets. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? Don't you understand? I've already forgiven you. Marius, I sent Nigel away just to save your dignity. You wouldn't want him to hear these things, would you? Because your surname is Monroe. I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't mean I have to be with you. I will repay your parents, but between you and me, we can only be classmates. Marius collapsed weakly onto the bed, perhaps due to illness. His face grew even paler. But what does it have to do with me? When I left the ward, it was quite noisy outside. The nurse hurried by. Quick, call security. The patient's family is causing a scene. I thought it was a medical dispute incident, but upon closer look, the figure at the center of the crowd was unmistakably Nigel. He stood there, his tall figure appearing somewhat stubborn. An auntie kept hitting him with her bag, all the while cursing non-stop. It was you who crippled my son. You'll pay with your life for what you did to my boy. Everyone, come see. This is the man who beat my son into paralysis. He's a potential murderer. Nigel did not fight back. He only said, your son tortured cats. What's wrong with abusing cats? They're just animals. So what if they die? My son is under a lot of pressure. Let him torture a few for fun. It's not illegal anyway. Nigel seemed about to say something more. He opened his mouth but ultimately fell silent. Some busybodies tried recording with their phones, but I stopped each one of them. The police and security finally arrived, putting an end to the commotion. The officer advised the aunt. If he hit your son, you can report it to the police and have him detained. The aunt avoided eye contact. It's too much trouble. It's no trouble. We can help you with the process. Forget it. Can't be bothered to argue with him. The aunt waved her hand and walked away quickly, as if avoiding something. I took note of her contradictory behavior. Nigel is a local. We didn't go back to school, but went to his house instead. The house was his own, usually unoccupied. I found the first aid kit and applied iodine to Nigel's arm, which had a slight scratch from the woman. Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. I asked worriedly. What exactly happened? I hit someone. Her son was originally from our school too. I beat him half to death. I've heard about this incident. Aren't you afraid? Many people think I have violent tendencies. There must be underlying reasons for this. Right. I firmly speculate. If there were no underlying reasons, Why would she be afraid to call the police? Selena is really smart. I'm not smart. I paused for a moment, looking at him with heartache. I just believe in you. You're not that kind of person. Nigel pulled me into his arms, as if only this could bring him a sliver of comfort. Actually, I hit that boy not because he abused the cat. Then what is the reason? Selena, do you know about the warehouse next to the west playground of our school? That playground seems to be abandoned. Yes. The area around the warehouse is overgrown with weeds, and usually no one goes to such a remote place. Nigel pondered for a moment before deciding to tell me everything. A year ago, I passed by the West Sports Field and heard cries for help coming from the warehouse. I went in and saw a beast about to assault the senior female student. And then, I asked. Attempted assault. I arrived just in time and beat that beast up. But I didn't expect him to have a knife. My heart suddenly clenched. Coming to commit violence. And bringing a knife. He was planning to silence her after succeeding. If it weren't for Nigel showing up, that senior would have been doomed. The knife stabbed right here. Nigel touched his jaw. The wound extended all the way to his Adam's apple. Not deep, but long and savage. Luckily, it didn't hit a major artery, but it left a permanent scar that aches whenever it's overcast or rainy. Today is overcast. I asked, "Does it hurt now?" "A little bit." Selena kissed me. "And it won't hurt anymore." I immediately leaned in. The kiss made Nigel's breathing grow heavy. "Wait. It's not the right time yet." I stopped his next move. "You haven't finished speaking. You clearly acted bravely for justice. So why does it seem like no one knows about it?" That boy has been awarded the provincial 3 Good Students title for 3 consecutive years. Nigel calmed his breathing and whispered. The school later found numerous photos and videos of cat abuse on his phone. However, because he had once been an outstanding representative of the school, they feared negative public opinion and decided to hush the matter up. The male student was expelled. At the same time, the school offered the senior female student a guaranteed graduate admission. Did the senior agree? Yeah. Actually, it's tough for the senior too. Her family is conservative and strict with her, so she doesn't dare to make this public. I sighed. My heart aches for Nigel. But as a woman, I also respect that senior's choice. Everyone has their own difficulties. I heard your Orville family is quite powerful. Didn't they lend you a hand? No matter how powerful, it can't change the senior's mind. She's the victim. If she doesn't want to speak, I would never force her to testify. Understood. That's the Nigel I know. He respects women so much that he would rather be misunderstood than help the victim conceal the truth. No wonder that aunt didn't dare to call the police today. She also knew her precious son had questionable morals. If they really called the police, who knows who might have been arrested. The reason she dared to go crazy at Nigel was because she saw that the victim was unwilling to come forward as a witness, giving her the opportunity to play the victim first. "Baby, did you beat that beast into paralysis?" "Yes. I was so angry at the time. I hit him a bit too hard, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down," Nigel said to me cautiously. "But I'm not violent." "Selena, don't be afraid of me." The glacier in his eyes finally melted this day, turned moist, as if pleading with a lover. I held his face and gave him a gentle kiss. "I'm not afraid. In fact, I want to thank you for eliminating a potential threat for all the girls." Nigel smiled with relief. "Thank you for understanding me." He began to kiss me back wantonly, turning the kiss into more complex movements. Today's Nigel was more passionate than ever. In the end, I was exhausted and complained. "Nigel, are you a perpetual motion machine? You don't like it?" It's not that I don't like it, but can you hold back a little? I'm really exhausted. One last time. No. Please. Figure it out yourself. Nigel had no choice but to press close to me, tucking one hand away with a pout. In the heat of passion, he bit my shoulder, then worried he'd hurt me. Selena, help me. I can't stand him like this. Clearly cold and fierce in daily life, but completely transforms in bed. Assertive yet coquettish. Who could resist? I couldn't help but reach out to help him, just lending a hand. Nigel became incredibly excited. When he whispered my name, it was even more passionate. Finally, I heard his low, muffled groan. It's raining outside. The whole world is damp and spreading. Still, someone posted the video online. Impossible to guard against. Originally, few people paid attention to this video, until someone says, the perpetrator is a student from a prestigious university, and everyone at their school knows about this. Damn, that's way too arrogant. He beat someone into paralysis. How hasn't he been expelled? Must have connections. With just 4 casual words, Nigel was convicted. They clearly knew nothing about it. Yet because of his privileged family background, he became the villain of school bullying who escaped punishment. In school, more and more classmates began avoiding him. Only I remained steadfastly by his side. Over time, I couldn't avoid being ostracized too. Our physical education classes were mixed across different majors. When it came time to form volleyball teams, no one wanted to pair with me. I stood alone, outside the crowd. My roommate couldn't bear it and suggested to the team leader, "Take Selena with us." No. Birds of a feather flock together. You can't say that. She's my roommate, and I can vouch that she's a good person. Ha! Aren't you afraid she might have violent tendencies too? Just like Nigel. One day when she's in a bad mood, she might beat you into paralysis. The roommate immediately got angry. Hey, how can you say that? I shook my head at my roommate, signaling her not to argue. I walked up to that person. Who are you saying has violent tendencies? Your boyfriend. Do you even know him? Do you understand why he got into fights? You know nothing. Just believing rumors without any judgment of your own. The person rolled their eyes. What other reason could there be for hitting someone? School bullying. Obviously. If he's been bullying at school, why haven't other victims come forward? Maybe others are too scared to speak up. His family is well off after all. So you're this easily swayed by rumors. No wonder people in your department all say you're. I deliberately paused, leaving my sentence unfinished. What did you say about me? Sigh. It's a bit harsh. I can't bring myself to say it. She was extremely embarrassed, her face turning pale. I smiled at her. Don't take it to heart. I just believed some rumors I heard. Tit for tat, as they say. I sat down to the side. Being alone is just being alone. No big deal. How